Welcome to the Wisconsin Folks Podcast. I'm Sally.
And I'm Charity.
In this episode, we are continuing our conversation about Slavic decorative arts in Wisconsin.
We will be learning more about the materials and processes used to create these folk art styles.
Polish Americans are the third largest ethnic group in the state of Wisconsin. Milwaukee was a common destination for people emigrating from Poland to Wisconsin, and Bernie Jendrejczak's family was a part of that wave.
Bernie got involved in Polish arts at a young age and continues to practice and teach her craft at the Pułanki Women's Club, a Polish heritage club in Milwaukee, which also sponsors many events that visitors can attend.
Yes, and Pułanki members like Bernie also take part in other popular events in the Milwaukee area, like the annual Holiday Folk Fair in the fall and Polish Fest in the summer.
Let's hear more from her now.
I'm doing Polish paper cutting. It's called Vuljanic. Folk art that has been around for about, I would say, 200 years. It really blossomed when the mass production of colored paper occurred. A lot of cultures adapted paper cutting. The original tool that they would use would be a sheep shears. There aren't that many original Polish paper cutouts because they were put right up on the wall, taken down twice a year when they would whitewash the walls, and then new ones would be put back up.
Bernie tells us that at one time, many regions in Poland had their own styles of wycinanki.
That's right. Peasants all over the country used to decorate their homes with these paper cutouts.
But today, only a few styles of wycinanki are still practiced.
At the turn of the century, at least a dozen different regions did paper cutting, but really to today, only 2 have survived. The region that I do is the region of Łowicz. It's in central Poland, very near the capital, just west of the capital. And they create their designs by taking a single piece of dark paper, like black, and they'll fold it either in half or like a snowflake, and they'll cut the design once, and when they open the paper, they'll have either 2 repeats, a mirror image, or 6 or 8 repeats. And then, where they have left a flower shape or a bird or a rooster shape, they will add colored pieces of paper to finish the design. Style that I do not do, this is from the region of Kurpia. Kurpia is in northeastern Poland and it's very heavily forested. This is created by folding a piece of paper like children would fold a snowflake. You fold it 4 times and you cut the design in one side, and when you open it, you'll get 8 repeats of the same thing.
Like with wycinanki in Poland, many styles of egg decorating existed in Croatia.
Vuljanic Lemke tells us about the distinct style in her region, where people use thread rather than dyes or straw to decorate their eggs.
In Croatia also, there is also painted eggs and straw eggs, but this is a very small region in south of Zagreb, where Croatia is only 30 kilometers wide, so it's influenced by different cultures, and maybe that had some influence on the style. I recreated from the memory, not the way my mom taught me, but just from the memory, the egg that I'm doing, which is called pisanica, and it's woven with thread. There is no glue used, and only one knot holds the whole structure.
Traditionally, the God's Eye pattern was used to decorate eggs in Stephanie's region.
She has continued this motif, but over time has developed her own personal style.
With the time, because I have so much time to do it, I make my own designs and my own little looping, like I give them three-dimensional effect. And I also change the eggs. I like different kind of eggs. I made already ostrich eggs, emu eggs.
Voda izvire, nali vodi pod javorom, aj voda izvire. Tu se šeće lijepa kata, vodu za...
I try to match the shape of an egg. Sometimes they are very oval, but when they are a little bit more round, I would do this design around like 6 little God's eye. So designs very depends on the shape of an egg and color, of course, to match or just how I feel.
So Sally, these artists are saying that folk arts aren't only about painting and drawing and decorating.
That's right. In fact, practicing traditional crafts is about more than the decorative process. It's about gathering materials and preparing them, as Sidonka Wadina discusses in this next segment about straw weaving.
I think the most commonly asked questions is they're asked, how long does it take you to make that? One of the first things I say when someone asks me that question is, if I asked you to make me a sweater and I told you there's the sheep, how long would it take you to do that? It takes about 4 to 6 months to prepare all the grain, hand cut, because these are special varieties that are grown just for weaving and just for this purpose. People say, do you have a catalog? I say, no, it varies from year to year because it depends what the harvest is. If there was a lot of rain, the straw is going to be wimpy and soft. If it was very dry, then the straws will be thicker.
So Charity, it sounds like Sidonka uses a special kind of wheat in her straw weavings. But these kind of specialized materials aren't always available to artists.
Exactly. Betty's mother was also limited in her egg decorating by the materials that were available in rural Wisconsin. It was only when Betty visited a Ukrainian community in Moose Jaw, Canada, that she learned to use traditional materials and tools for making pisanke.
So I started about when I was 12 years old, and we did them with paraffin wax on boiled eggs, and then Mama cooked beets and real rough dyes, and she used to have them in jars, and then over the summer they were in the fruit cellar. I just worked with the plain little tools that I had from my mother, and that was just a little stick pin at the end of like a pencil sort of thing. Well, when I went up to Canada, that's when I first got my kishka, my beeswax. Kishka is a little tool that's woven. It has a little copper funnel on it, and that's where you put your beeswax in and light it into the flame of a candle, and that's what you write with, yeah.
While Betty used traditional Ukrainian symbols and motifs, like Stephanie, she enjoyed experimenting with eggs from all over the world.
Any egg that I can get my hands on, I'd like to put something on it. I have an ostrich egg down at my table there that I don't know. My son-in-law brought me 6 of them from South Africa, but I've only done one. I don't know the other 5. I think are going to sit there because they're awful hard to do. They were so hard to hold in your hand because they're so big. But it was a challenge, and so it's fun. I have Rhea eggs at home. I have small pullet eggs, in fact, so it's fun.
This podcast is produced by the Wisconsin Arts Board with support from the Wisconsin Department of Tourism and the National Endowment for the Arts.
Find out more about the traditional arts and artists of Wisconsin at www.wisconsinfolks.org.
Then head over to www.travelwisconsin.com for more information on where to go to experience Slavic Wisconsin for yourself.